Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on Sam's Crafted Castle, and today I have another fairly simple card for you guys today. There's nothing really heavy in this technique wise or anything like that. It's just kind of for fun. The main inspiration for this card was actually the frame die that I'm going to use in a little bit, which oddly enough I don't actually ever really show you in the video. Mostly because I zoomed my camera in very, very far to do this coloring portion of events and did not zoom it back out when I went to start die cutting, because I don't usually zoom it in that close, but I did this time. So you couldn't see anything. So I cut the die cutting out of the video. But the die set that was sort of the inspiration for this card was the frosted, hold on, I have it. The Frosted Frames die from the Greetery. And I bought that die set a couple years ago now. It's been a while. And I liked it because it was kind of different. So it's definitely designed to look like frosting on a cake, or frosting on a cake, I guess. And I was hesitant about it at first because I kind of, in my head, blocked it out, so that was sort of it, if you will. Like it was just frosting. But there's this really cool, loopy kind of border piece to it that I really like, and I thought would be a really fun, just, border on anything. And it doesn't really, look like frosting. It's not super identifiable that way. There's a smaller frame in the die set that I don't use in this video. I was, but then changed my mind. That is very, I should have asked a friend of mine who does this a lot more than I do, because she would have been able to give me the right answers for all of these things. But there is one that looks a little bit more like the border on a cake, if you will. And I was going to actually use that on this card, but I ended up deciding to do something different, which we'll talk about later when we get there. But I really bought it just to use this little loopy edge thing, which you'll see you saw it in the picture before of the finished card. But I really liked that. That was that's what I'm trying to get at. I really thought that was kind of unique and fun, and I just still hadn't used it after all of this time, so it was time to get it out and use it. And I was trying to figure out what I had kind of pulled it out because it was speaking to me to try to use it for something. And I was going through my stash trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was looking through some florals and all that kind of stuff, and as I was digging through, I found these two little La La Land minis that were gifted to me by someone a million years ago. I don't even remember who gave them to me anymore, but I was a huge La La Land fan back in the day when I first started really getting into crafting and all of that stuff. So people would give me their La La Land stuff that they didn't want anymore, and that's how I got these two little guys. And I wasn't, I was trying to you get away from sort of the cookie cake bakery theme of the die set originally, but I found these two and I was like, they're just so cute, and I have not colored up a La La Land image in what feels like forever, and I wanted to give it a go and color them up and have some fun with them. I didn't really amass a big collection of La La Land stamps because that was during my college years when I didn't have the crafting budget I do now back then, and anything I got crafting related, I usually had to have my parents get for me, or ask for as gifts and stuff like that. So I never really amassed a huge collection of them. And I don't even think I have. I do. I still have some. I take that back. I do have a few yet. But yeah, so these are two that I still have. This was right after they switched to clear stamps, because they were rubber stamps only for the longest time, and for most of the time that I was following them super intensely, they were rubber stamps only. I have a couple digi stamps of theirs too. Um, but it's been so long since I've colored like people stamps, if you will. I don't know if you all remember, like probably 10ish years ago, when these sort of like little kid stamps were like super super popular and what everyone was doing, and I jumped on that bandwagon so fast, and I learned how to I learned all of my Copic marker coloring skills. Not all of them, that's a little much, but I learned the basics. I taught myself. I mean, by taught myself I mean YouTube. At that point, I learned all of that just practicing on like La La Land images, and mostly just La La Land images for that. I'm sure I think I had a couple digi stamps and stuff of people too, but that was what I like wanted to do, and I've really gotten away from it, and I've got more into sort of the florals and the critters generally is where I go. But it was really fun to get these back out and bust out some of those old like skin and hair skills, and it is far from perfect, my coloring on here. These images were really small, so I probably should have like picked something else to do to like, I don't want to say relearn my skills, but like refresh my skills. That's the right word. To refresh my skills a little bit, but I didn't. I jumped right into these little tiny images, so it could have been better, but I'm feeling kind of motivated to print out some other digi stamps. Like I said, I don't know if I have any actual like physical stamps for like little kids or people anymore, but I know I have some digi stamps, so I'm tempted to print some out and give them a little color up and refresh some of those skills and see what I can do. I could have also chosen to do it in colored pencils, which would have probably been easier because I think they're a little bit easier to get details out of than markers. I'm still working on that, which is funny because I've been coloring with markers for longer than I have been coloring with pencils. But yeah, fine details and markers I think are tricky. They take a lot of practice, and I just haven't had a lot of time to practice lately. I really feel like all my coloring skills are getting kind of rusty, so I feel like I need to get out a Kit and Clouder class here and just like work through it and try to refresh my skills a little bit. So there you can see, now that I got distracted, you can see the sort of loopy firm I was talking about, and I liked this because I thought it was really different. I don't have anything like that, and it just adds a little something something. It's really thin border, so it's doesn't distract much or anything from stuff that's going on. And yeah, it's supposed to look like icing, but I just think it's a really cool pattern and a really cool border. Gluing it down is tricky though. That's because it is very thin, so getting it glued down is a little challenging, but it works out in the end. It all works out fine. You also get another piece when you cut this, when you get the outside. You saw me put it down earlier because I didn't realize I was going to get that other piece at first, and I thought maybe I wanted to use that, but I didn't. So you actually get the outside piece that you can use too, and it gets this cool little like pierced detail on it, which is really fun. And then I stamped my greeting. I just cut out the blue rectangle. I was going for like a blue and white kind of theme here because that's just what was speaking to me. And this is me trying to glue that down. I just used my fine tip Connect glue bottle and just put little dots all over the place. I started trying to like trace it, and then I realized no, that was gonna be way too much glue, so I started just doing little dots, and then my camera battery died. So you don't get to see me try to glue it down, but maybe that's the best because it was a little tricky and getting it on straight because it does like to wiggle around a little bit. If you think more ahead than I do, I recommend doing like a double-sided adhesive sheet. You know what I'm kind of getting at with that, and just trying to stick it down that way. And also, I, a little bit earlier, stamped the little greeting that came with the little, my little Marci stamp set there, and it says, "Life is short like the bowl," because I thought that was cute. And I'm just going to attach them with some foam tape, lots of foam squares. I have this, maybe you can't relate, but I have this giant pile of foam squares that I keep essentially losing, which sounds weird because I said it was a giant pile, but what happens is it gets like shoved to the back of my adhesive drawer all the time. So I'm kind of trying to just get it under control a little bit. Now that's going to help me not lose them, but it just keeps accumulating because I keep losing the pile. Anyway, like I said, kind of a basic card this week, but I thought it was cute and I wanted to share. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I will see you again soon, and have a crafty day.